Hi, guys, and welcome to an amazing episode of Beyond Parody. We have so much to get to today. Today, we're talking about Iran, bunker busters, Zohran Mamdani. Do you like your steak rare? Do you like it well done? We're talking about Jasmine Crockett, AOC, socialism, taking over the world, solving all of the problems. Join us for an amazing episode coming up next here on Beyond Parody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Beyond Parody podcast. I'm your host, Dan Dillon, and I am joined by my co-host, Robin. Say hi, Robin.
Oh, hi, Robin. I'm so funny.
And the bees, Travis.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, Travis.
Hi.
Oklahoma City Thunder fan, Travis.
Yeah, casual fan. They won the finals, apparently.
They won the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I only like them because I was in Oklahoma, and I liked the hat, and their mascot is a buffalo.
Do they have a lot of buffalo in Oklahoma City?
They used to.
They're all north, aren't they? Aren't they all north of there?
This feels very Brady Bunch. I think we should look at each other while you're introducing ourselves. Like up.
That'd be cool.
And across.
Mr. B can't do it because he's just a logo. Say hi, Mr. B.
How do you guys like my hair today?
Looks very nice.
Travis, that was great.
Good.
There's a lot of ammunition to discuss, or a lot of ammunition for stories this week. Obviously, the biggest story of the week is the bunker busters that Trump went without constitutional authority.
Just totally out of the blue. Yeah.
Completely out of the blue. You didn't warn anybody. Nobody knew this was coming. Jasmine
He didn't
Crockett.
even warn the pilots. They didn't know.
They didn't know.
They were just like, oh, we're flying over here? Okay.
We're flying. Yeah, he did not consult the pilots. That's great, Travis.
The clips of Jasmine Crockett complaining about not being informed about this strike are hilarious.
Oh, those are great.
She's the
It
most...
reminded me, I live in a big family and a lot of things get miscommunicated. It's like, I didn't know about this dinner with Dad next week. No one told me. Like, that's how I feel. It's a lot of that kind of energy.
While we're talking about it, let me bring up the clip of her, which in one sense, she's not 100% wrong about her position, but the way that she says it and the entitled spirit of this is just out of control. So let me bring up this clip here for us to listen to. Jasmine Crockett. I mean, I think that we could get all of our clips of the week just from her. She's like the new AOC. It's
trying
great.
to be.
She's trying very hard to be.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is her talking about Trump launching this attack on Iran without her making the decision.
And to understand enough about the Constitution to the extent that I'm the one that's supposed to make the decision or at least get a vote.
You go, girl.
Oh,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen.
If she knew the Constitution, she'd know what is it? Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution says the president can enact essentially one-off military engagements without
That's racist,
approval
Robin.
from Congress. I says, well, she's the one that brought up the Constitution. So
You see how she said it in a sassy way. That means that if you disagree with it, it's racist.
I'm telling you, that's how it works. No, I think the whole Iran thing, it's been really interesting. And what so many people online, if you followed Middle Eastern politics in depth for many, many years, like some of us have, and I've said a million times, I'm not an expert on the Middle East, but it is something that we just have grown up with this. If you've been interested in politics in the last 20 years, you have been pulled into a lot of research and reading on the Middle East, and you know that this didn't just happen in a vacuum, that Trump didn't just wake up and think, I'm going to go bomb Fardo in Iran, and I'm just going to do it, bloop, bloop, push the button. Obviously, there's a lot of precedent for this, and it's a pretty remarkable event that took place this week. I don't know if people quite understand the context for all of this, but that he went in and with precision, 36 hours of flying in these stealth B-2s with refueling midair. I don't know how they go to the bathroom in those planes. I don't know if we want to know the details, but it is pretty impressive. It's a pretty impressive feat. Those pilots should all get really high commendations for their actions. And then to go in and hit, it really is like a Star Wars shot. You know, like you fly low, you hit, you drop these bombs, you
Into
get
the
out
exhaust
quickly.
port, yeah.
Into the exhaust port, yeah. and then you gun it.
You know,
But-
Robin, while you're talking about the pilots, I thought that it was ridiculous that the New York
he froze.
Times...
It's the storm.
We're keeping that.
What
Called
happened?
the perfect
You
storm.
froze. Keep
froze.
going.
I froze.
Keep going.
Yeah, we're gonna
You
keep
froze
it.
on Robin.
Oh, nice. I think it's funny that the New York Times, after this, published an article with an opinion piece about how, Pete Hegseth called them our boys and thanked our boys that were flying these planes. And they were complaining because actually there are women who are trained to fly the B-2 as well. And it's like, that's the only thing they can focus on. Like they can't focus on anything else other than a use of a gendered word by Pete Hegseth, not the bravery or the commitment to the task or anything like that. It was just about the fact that Pete Hegseth chose to use the word boys.
The boys and the
his
bombers. Yeah.
Well, there were no
It's
women on the planes. So
Well, I don't know.
It was
do we
accurate.
know that? I don't even know if we know that. Do we know that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I
if there
doubt
were
they
not,
released. They didn't dox their pilots. Go. These are the ones.
Yeah.
You know?
But it doesn't even matter if there were
Yeah,
girls
true.
on the plane and you just say these boys. It's like people get mad when you refer to a group of people these days as guys. Hey, guys, pay attention.
Yeah, that used to be normal, and now it's like offensive.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's because of Survivor. Remember, who did we talk to? Travis, are you the Survivor friend? Someone we had on, we were talking about Survivor, but it was a while ago with Jeff Probst or whatever his name is. He came out and called everybody guys. He was like, hey, can we still use that phrase? Let's take a vote. This was like when Survivor ended. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And people got mad, and like the contestants voted and said they felt uncomfortable with the phrase guys. And so they didn't use guys in Survivor anymore because it's gendered or something.
Oh, yeah. I never watched Survivor. I watched like a little bit of the first season when it was, the big thing. And
Travis, you
I
never
didn't
watched
get
Survivor.
into it.
How do you expect to survive if you ever
How
are
do
in
you-
a survival situation?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't make alliances with the survivors. I would just like, hey, you guys are all on my team. We need to live. That's surviving.
He'd survive by selling that trophy in the background.
Oh,
You can't take a trophy.
yeah.
Survivor's
I don't know
fantastic.
whose trophy that is? I think it's my wife's old soccer trophy.
Do you have any trophies? Do you have any trophies, Travis?
Not anymore. They were all participation trophies, and I burned them.
I need to get with Seth. We need to give you a trophy for something.
Oh, well, that'd be nice. I remember when we did Be Live, there was a talk about doing like, how we did the fake awards ceremony.
Yeah.
But we gave them all to like Gavin Newsom and stuff. They were talking about like giving me one, like the best person who got hit by a bus, and they were going to give that to me.
Oh, we need to have everybody. You need to tell that story at some point about you getting hit by a bus. Well,
Oh.
that's a crazy
don't-
story. If you don't,
I don't remember it.
oh,
Travis is the
It's
worst
gone.
person to tell that story.
It's true.
get an eyewitness.
You got to get somebody in there who actually knows what happened.
Jeez,
Anyway, we're talking about bunker busters, not Travis.
bunker
Yeah.
busters. I'd like to hear. I know people have a lot of really strong opinions about it. I'd like to hear what our listeners thought about this week's activities. But there is 89% consensus in the Republican Party for the drop on Fordo. So this again, and I said this last week, the narrative that there's this bifurcation in the Republican Party, it's just not. It's overwhelmingly supported by Republican and overwhelmingly supported by voters in general. I think it's like 70% or 75% approved of Trump dropping
Yeah.
these bombs. So
Even among Republicans who think that Trump should have like told them about it, they're still like, it was still good. It's
Yeah.
still worth doing. I think Thomas Massey's the
should
only
have
one who
personally.
disagrees.
Trump should have personally called me before he did this, just like Jasmine Crockett. You should have called me. I mean, I'm mad. I'm personally upset that he didn't let me know about this.
Yeah, he should have called every single registered Republican voter.
If you publicly said that you voted for Trump, then he should have called you. 100%. No, it's silly the way that the media has covered this too. Is we talk about this a lot, so maybe it's kind of getting old talking about it, but it really is every single time something like this happens, the coverage with the media. At the beginning when he drops the bombs, now all of a sudden the media is anti-bombs, anti-war, whereas Obama dropped way more bombs than Trump has.
like 36,000 different bombs and drone strikes
and,
throughout his.
and so now all of a sudden they're anti-bomb, anti-presidential constitutional authority. And then, a couple of days later, you get this peace deal worked out between Trump and Iran and Israel. He brokers this peace deal. And then all of a sudden, you actually get people on CNN and New York Times talking about how, well, actually peace isn't what this area needs, actually saying those words, right? And it's just like, no matter what is happening that could possibly make Trump look good, they are willing to, within 5 minutes, publish an article saying it's bad.
Well, and it's so dumb because it's such an easy win. This is it's the kind of like
It's a win for
the
everybody.
transing of the kids thing. It's an 80-20, 90-10 issue. You just say that was a win. Good
But
job.
they can't, the media can't even agree with the 80-20, 90-10
No.
issues. They can't. They have the propaganda that's in them, and they have to get it out. They have to get it out. They have to complain. And I don't know how successful this, treaty is going to be. I honestly don't even know technically whether or not either side has actually honored it, because there was this weird 6 hours of Iran having an opportunity to strike, which is ridiculous. It's like, if you don't want to strike anymore, just call everything off or whatever. But that's how it comes down to this honor thing about being the last to strike and everything like that. And everybody has to have their opportunity to get their last strike in, which is,
But
it's like
apparently-
children. I mean, it's like dealing with literally
having the
like
last
dealing with
word.
children. Yeah.
Apparently, even with that strike, because they bombed, I don't know the name of the military base outside of Qatar, but they had told the U.S. that they were going to be sending missiles in, and that
It's all
base
about,
was evacuated.
It's all about the honor. It's all about the appearance to their people that they can run on Iranian state media and saying, "Oh, we struck last, therefore we won.
Right.
We are the ones. We are the victors." And so you have this whole situation where Trump barters this incredible peace deal. Even the U.S. Media can't agree that it's a good thing. They can't even get on board with that. And then Iran and Israel seemingly kind of crossed the lines that were drawn. And so this is Trump's reaction when pressed about both sides seeming to go against the ceasefire. I'm going to play a clip here, and it's probably the clip of the week, I would say.
It's the F-bomb heard round the world.
Yeah, Trump dropped more than just the one bomb this week. That was the pun that was waiting to be told, right?
There was a bunch of those, yeah.
Okay, so here's Trump dropping the bomb.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
He's mad. He was so mad.
That is like one of my favorite Trump moments of all time, I think.
He's so authentic. He's so, say what you want about Trump, and there's plenty of stuff if you want to make criticisms here or there, whatever, but his level of authenticity and off the cuff, to say he's staged or that he writes his stuff out, there's never been a president that's so authentic and just unscripted. Legit than Trump. The things he says are really, really funny.
I think it also adds to it the fact that he's not wearing a tie. Like,
Exactly.
He's
I
got
didn't
his
even
collar
notice that.
loosened. He's got his collar loosened. He's out there on the lawn.
He just came out of the
Drops
Situation
F-bomb.
Room. Yeah.
The memes on this quote have been amazing. The different captions people have put in they don't know what the blip they're doing. Like, there's so many different scenarios you can plug it into.
I love that all these politicians are swearing so much. It makes me feel better about myself.
They're just like us, right? They're just like us. What were you going to say, Travis?
No, he's not wrong that they don't know what they're doing, I think, to an extent.
No, you're 100%. Literally, it's like dealing with little children. This whole situation, the way the way that they deal with these conflicts, and the whole thing with the honor of being able to strike last and all this other stuff. It's like they behave like little children.
Yeah.
And I think that Trump, he has been involved in this long enough that he should know. But I think that it even surprises him sometimes how immature even our allies are. In Israel to go against something that he just put out on the table, 24 hours ago, and to go against it already. It's like, it's unbelievable.
No, it's like the terms of the ceasefire were never actually violated because there was that weird time limit for no apparent reason that I understand. It's like, it'll start in 12 hours or whatever it was.
Get out of your system.
Yeah. So for me, it's like the way they kind of bombed each other was like, we didn't break it. It's fine. It's like kids in a backseat of a car, and they're like, you can't go in my area, but they're just putting their finger over there, like right next to you. I'm not touching you. It's fine.
Exactly.
You have kids too.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
They do. So,
yes,
and I told them, you don't know what you're doing. Stop bombing each other.
Stop bombing.
Are you talking about the kids or Iran?
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. I have a little tiny conspiracy theory with this clip. Even though I just said that Trump is super authentic, and this hasn't been verified, but I'm just going to put this out there. So there's a lot online and a lot of people who criticize Trump this is ridiculous. They say Netanyahu has Trump in his pocket. Netanyahu controls all U.S. foreign policy. Netanyahu this, Netanyahu that. We're allies. We're allies with Israel. We have conversations. Obviously, Bibi Netanyahu is not in charge of American foreign policy. There's part of me that wonders if Trump staged this moment and dropped an F-bomb, knowing it would go viral, to come out strongly against something Netanyahu was doing, to kind of say to the world, look, I am in charge of this. Like, Netanyahu doesn't push me around. I'm going to yell at him on public TV.
I honestly don't think so. The reason I don't think so is because I don't think Trump cares about people saying that. I don't think he cares. He doesn't care if people say that because when you have the supreme alpha dog mentality that Trump does, like you just dismiss somebody saying, oh, Trump's in Netanyahu's pocket or whatever, like as just like insanity, and you don't even address it. I don't think that he's interested in trying to manipulate narratives that way. This is just his honest reaction. You
don't think he's just putting on airs and that he's secretly going into a room and crying every night? What people say about him?
I don't think that.
I think that's one of his superpowers, is not caring about what other people.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do what he does. The moment they say anything negative, even if it's not true, I'd be like, oh, don't say that about me. I'm sorry.
100%. I've been in journalism for 20 years, and I still remember comments like idiot randos online have made about stuff I've said in articles and on this podcast or whatever. And I'm trying to get tougher, but my husband will laugh. I'll send him a screenshot. I'm like, look what they said about me last week. He's like, just let it go. Just let it go.
What did they say about you, Robin?
Oh, somebody when I was doing my other show said something about this woman having a terrible voice and I can't listen to her. I'm like, my voice is all I have. I've been in broadcast journalism for 20 years, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a moneymaker here. So I got but it's stupid. It's just some random person, whatever. Why should I care? But I'm not Trump. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how, this is what separates like the real attack dog online pundits from the rest of us who are a little, it's the not caring, like Matt Walsh. I've thought about this. How do you go on there every day and Charlie Kirk and some of these big brands of people who take so much hate and they kind of feed off of it almost, and then like help me out with Pokemon. Do Pokemons project out their energy? I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, they can. The psionic ones do.
There we go. They're psionic Pokemon. Type. Yeah. Pokemon. This is what these guys are. They absorb all the negative energy and then just repel it out as part of their brand, and it's really
I don't get it. My brother is more like that than I am. So Seth has his personal Twitter account, and he really stokes up a lot of fires. And I don't really post on my personal Twitter account that much, but I do post from the Not the Bee account a lot. And it is tough when you say something and then you get a bunch of negative comments about it. It's like, oh, is there really something wrong with what I said or whatever? And some people think about that stuff and will retract it. And then other people just invite it. They don't want it. And I feel like Seth is like that more than me. He just kind of invites that. Sometimes I just don't give a crap though. Sometimes I'm just like, I'll just post whatever and I don't care. Because most, especially on Twitter's a little bit different than some other platforms, but most of what I see on Twitter is all anonymous accounts that you have no idea whether or not they're even real people. You just have to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Right. Every now and then you do attract the attention of somebody that is a real person, like Captain Kirk when he blocked me. That hurt.
He blocked you?
Well, he actually blocked Peter Heck, but it was my website that he blocked because
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Peter Heck wrote an article on our site, an opinion piece about how William Shatner still doesn't have the right perspective even after going up into space in the Blue Origin thing or whatever, because what he really needs to do is humble himself before God and all this other stuff. And William Shatner actually blocked Not the Bee.
Ouch.
that was sad.
William Shatner is
talking about you.
He's kind of a depressing case to me because I'm a huge fan of his. And he did that show, that reality show, Better Late Than Never, where him and some friends just went traveling. And it was really entertaining. But throughout the show, there's this ongoing thread where he's looking for some spiritual meaning to life. And I'm like, dude, you just need to sit down with your Bible. You're this close.
It's right there.
And it was
you just need to sit down with your Spock and talk to him, and he'll tell you. He'll tell you all about the metaphysical. No, I'm
live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Talking about, maybe to segue into another topic that's been huge this week. And I mentioned Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you guys have seen. People post a million things a week, and you never. It always is interesting to me what blows up and kind of spills out past the conservative Twitter sphere. And Charlie posted something, and I could bring it up, but something about 9/11 happened. 24 years ago,
25
and
years
it's
ago.
amazing. We've elected an Islamist Muslim New York.
Well, they haven't
mayor of
actually
New York
elected
now.
the mayor
They haven't
yet.
elected him. Yeah,
Yeah.
or he's in primary, but it's going to be hard. For Adams and Cuomo, I guess, are going to all run as an independent, maybe even as writing candidates. But it was crazy to see how that story blew up and everybody started calling Charlie Kirk a racist for that. And I think we could talk about that and talk about this election this week and some of the interesting facets of it, Travis.
Yeah. Do you know that we are now closer to the Roman Empire than we are to 9/11? That's how far away we are.
Really? That's impressive. That makes me feel old.
That's why people tune into this show.
That makes me feel really old, Gosh, perspective.
Now, the whole thing with, so don't mess with the Zohran. Is that what we're talking about now? Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani.
So Zohran Mamdani won pretty handily. What do they call it? The type of polling that it is? The
Ranked choice.
ranked choice polling
choice
for
voting,
mayor
yeah.
of New York City. And he's a socialist, obviously, and a Muslim, obviously, and a Muslim who has some very questionable connections to people who are involved in Hamas and terror. So the fact that this person is the potential probable, I would say, mayor, future mayor of New York City at this point in time is alarming. It's not racist at all to say that. It's crazy that you would go from, it's like, imagine if 25 years after Pearl Harbor, the governor of Hawaii was Japanese. I mean, it would be pretty crazy. Like, it wouldn't be racist to say that. It would just be crazy.
It'd be surprising.
Sure.
Sure.
Very, very, very surprising if 25 years later, the mayor of Honolulu was Japanese or the governor of Hawaii was Japanese.
We need to look it up. Maybe they were. We don't know.
Well, and he's not from the Middle East.
Yeah.
He's Indian and Ugandan, I think, but he is Muslim. And a lot of people calling it racist. Islam is not a race. It's a religion and it's an ideology. And there's Islamicism and there's Islam and he I don't think he's a orthodox Muslim. He definitely has progressive views. He's very pro LGBTQ and he's very pro feminism and all of these things. So, it is this really interesting sort of vector of all of these different ideologies. And I think it would be the same thing if AOC won mayor of New York or any of these other democratic socialists, right? We have to put the democratic in front of it to make it
No,
okay.
they're just socialists. They're not democratic.
They're just socialists.
They only put the word democratic in front of it so that you think less badly of them. That's the only reason the word is there. But
Right.
I think that, on the surface, I look at what I read from what he's saying, and it doesn't seem like a Muslim person to me at all. It does. It seems more like an AOC, just run of the mill. Let's say some things that are going to piss off white Christians, type of thing. Like, and that seems very dangerous. Like, I'm going to play a clip right now of this is one of his financial positions, which everybody knows his big one, which is like he wants to publicize supermarkets in New York City.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a minute.
Which
I've got thoughts.
which is just insane. And you can go through the whole trickle down economic plan of that and see how it's going to ultimately fail. In fact, I've got a great quote here from. That's the other great quote, the queer liberation quote, which we'll get to. So here's what's going to happen to the government grocery stores in New York City. Stores will sell goods at below cost, subsidized by taxpayers. People will then steal from these stores without fear of reprisal. People will buy goods at below market prices and then resell them. Private grocery stores, unable to compete, will go out of business. Food shortages develop, followed by civil unrest and starvation, and the mayor will blame capitalism.
USSR.
I read that tweet too. I agree with all of it except for one point. And here's the problem with all of this. If this was happening at scale in the US, yes. The problem is it's just a city, right? And so we're not going to get to food shortages. They will get bailed out. When this fails, they will get bailed out somewhere by the federal government. New York City is not going to devolve. And I mean, it's definitely going to go downhill. But the problem with all of these is they try these stupid ideas. It's like, oh, we've never done price controls. We've never done government run grocery stores. We have no examples of this anywhere ever from history ever. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, we do. We have it over and over and over again. Cuba and and the Soviet Union and North Korea. We can just, but that's not what we're talking about here. This has never been tried. And so they're going to do it. It's going to fail. The price margin on groceries is 1.6%, which means they are going to bring down the cost of groceries 1.6%, which will be nominally unnoticeable. Or
I don't
like
think
you said,
I think that it would be more aggressive than that.
They could
he's
way
talked
undercut
specifically
it.
about undercutting things, which
Right.
then you give the I'd say the private companies that are running grocery stores in New York City the great opportunity to sue for unfair business practices, because undercutting that far, like this is it doesn't make any sense why you would be able to do
subsidized
that.
with tax dollars.
Yeah, subsidized with tax dollars. It's an unfair competitive advantage for those supermarkets. Even though those supermarkets are going to be losing money everything that they sell, so it's an advantage in the sense that you take the business away from the other supermarket, but you're not actually profiting. Everything that you sell, you're losing money on after taking money away from taxpayers in order to subsidize it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
And do you know who owns the majority of the little bodegas in New York City? Minorities and immigrants. This is the same thing with the LA riots. They always affect the lowest income
the big chain
minorities.
Supermarkets are
no,
not
they'll
the
be
main
fine.
suppliers.
Target
in New
will
York
be
City.
fine.
So
They'll just move
listen
out.
just to what he was saying. This is on the Breakfast Club podcast. This is about a 1 minute long clip of him talking. So let's just listen to him talk and then give feedback on what he wants to do in New York City, which is definitely not going to work out well for the city.
I've proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
Oh, wow.
So this guy wants to pursue raising the corporate tax rate 4% roughly. I think it's 4% is what he mentioned, to match that of New Jersey, which, companies have lower corporate tax rates in order to attract them into New York City because it's so expensive to run your business in New York City, right? So they don't want them to flee to New Jersey. So this has been an economic plan in place for a long time in order to make New York City one of the commercial capitals of the world. And so to just be like, oh, well, it's such a one-dimensional view of the problem. And then to say that you're going to enforce that on companies that aren't headquartered in New York City. How are you going to do that? You're going to enforce that on Coca-Cola? Is that what he's suggesting? Every Coke that's sold, then you have to keep track of whether or not it's sold within the geographic location in New York City? Or is he saying he's going to try and collect taxes from businesses that are selling things online and not even in the state? Like, I don't even understand what that is, but it's like always this tax grab. It's a tax grab. And then raising the taxes 2% on billionaires is just something that you'd expect from a socialist to say. I actually think that that's lower than I would have expected him to say. But then just like writing it off as just, oh, that's a rounding error and all this other stuff. It's like, it's such a short-sighted view. And like, it's not just this thing with wanting, okay, so we haven't even gotten to his crazy stuff yet, right? Like, well, let's talk about his crazy stuff.
He's trying to distance for some of the crazy stuff. But yeah, let's read some of these. You got to know who you're voting for, people.
Yeah, so let's read first his I think his all-time banger tweet is, I'll bring it up on screen here. Queer liberation means defund the police. This was posted on November 5th, 2020. It's like, there's a lot to unwrap here. What does that sentence mean? Travis, what does that sentence mean?
It means if there are police, queer can't be queer, which doesn't make sense.
I don't even
know. No, but
know.
it's saying that, okay, so
what does it mean? All cops must wear dresses? What are we talking about?
Queer liberation means
it's this stupid it's reverting back to this UNA issue, and it's like this is the most 2025 tweet, although it came out in 2020. It's queer people, I guess is the LGBTQ umbrella. Now we use that word to describe anybody who has any sort of anything. It used to just be gays and lesbians, and now it's gays, lesbians, and dudes in dresses, and then we go on down the. Yeah. And then there's the plus. I don't know what the plus means, guys. What is the anyway? We don't need to get into that. But then the defund the police. I want him to sit down and just carry that over the finish line for me. Like, are you saying police target people of the LGBTQ community?
Yeah, he said
more?
in a separate tweet, he said, "We don't need an investigation to know that the NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. What we need to do is defund the NYPD." So this
All
is
I want are receipts. Just show me receipts. Do we have metadata that proves this? If we do, that's a problem. If we have data that proves that cops are legitimately racist in New York City, then okay, but bring the receipts. I would like to see them, because during the George Floyd riots, I kept hearing this over, and it turns out that everything they were saying was the opposite of what was true. That cops on average do not target minorities, and that Caucasian people are more likely to be...
especially in New York City, where they're under so much scrutiny that that they, in reality, these days are probably avoiding confrontations, which you see videos of as well. You see them avoiding the confrontation with a minority in situations where they otherwise should be engaging this person who's causing civil unrest or whatever, because they know if they just do anything, they're going to end up getting fired. Because you have a city that tries to put somebody on trial like Daniel Penny, who's a freaking hero for saving people, just because the guy that he happens to subdue was black. I mean, that's the whole mentality of the entire city.
He wasn't just black. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And we love
Michael Jackson is white.
Yeah, that's
this is
true.
getting confusing.
Okay, Travis, do your Michael Jackson impersonation again.
Oh,
Jam on, you said.
Jam on.
You said Jamon.
No, you said Jamon. Or no.
It's not Jamon?
It is Jamon. I don't remember what you said. You said whatever was... I'm sorry, Travis. You said whatever was wrong.
Don't cut any of this.
Why would we cut
Travis,
this?
we
This
don't
is the
cut
best part of the
anything.
podcast.
We roll. We record everything. It's interesting, and I read it.
There you go. That's...
I was trying to bring some levity here, where you guys are.
We're bringing the levity. You're bringing the
levity. I'm bringing the heavy.
You're bringing the Robin nuclear bombs. We're bringing the levity.
Go ahead, Mom.
We avoided nuclear meltdown, so that's good. A couple of quick things on Zohran Mamdani, I think, to note. One, I think when people are going to call him a socialist, they should be able to define what a socialist is. On the right, I'm talking to my peeps. I think he's a socialist, and I can tell you why I think he's a socialist. But I think if we're going to call him a socialist, and a communist, he really is. And the main difference between socialism and communism, they all end up at the exact same place. But communism just adds a layer of authoritarianism that socialism doesn't, but then it does. I mean, I read Animal Farm with my kids last year, and they got it. So if you don't know how it all evolves into authoritarianism almost instantly, having the means of production controlled by the people, someone has got to be in charge of that people, and this is Zohran. So yeah, on the right, if we're going to call him a socialist, then know why. These things like he's proposed rent freezes, we've done price controls.
Yeah, the rent freezes are crazy.
Price controls cripple economies. They have every single time. We have a historical precedent. But the other thing, really quick, the other point I want to make is not to discount him, and not to discount why it's overwhelmingly young people who are voting for him, and young people who do feel disenfranchised for whatever reason from the system, from capitalism, from the Republican Party, from whatever. And this is the next generation of voters on the left. We're losing the old guard. We're losing Nancy Pelosi, and Mitch McConnell's a Republican. But the older politicians, and the young people on the left are much more left than their previous generation was.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But when you also see studies that kind of refute that. The younger males, for instance, are overwhelmingly conservative and
but they're just gone.
More conservative.
I'm talking about women and white liberal women, but their views tend to be much more extreme than the views of the Democratic Party of the youth tend to be more extreme
Well, I mean,
than the
that's
views
the whole
of their
definition
older.
of the progressive
Right.
movement. That it's just over time it progresses further and further and further. We always fear that it's going to just keep getting worse and worse and worse. But I do think that with the woke thing and some of that other stuff, there has been enough backlash that it is kind of dying in some way. Some of it is not. It's not that it's not going to exist anymore on TikTok and all this other stuff, but corporations kind of backing off of it. You see Target
Right.
finally backed off the Pride stuff. You see, the month of June wasn't so covered in rainbows this year. It's like it kind of returns to normalcy, and we always have this short-term knee-jerk reaction that like, oh, the future is completely screwed. But in reality, like humans are humans, and I do think that there's some sort of centering mechanism where it kind of finds its way back towards normalcy at some point in time. And I think that hopefully, like the youth that are becoming more conservative, the crazier they get, the harder it is to defend their positions. And you literally just have to take a leap of faith to be almost like a religious cult. You have to join the religious cult of the left because there's no logic that leads you there.
But some of the concerns, I think, like housing being too expensive and not being able to buy into a first-time home, and these are real issues that young people face. And I need the Conservative Party needs to step up and say, "Hey, we've got answers for these things that aren't socialism."
Yeah, sell all the government land. That's what their answer is.
No, we can talk about that too. That's my senator. I've got thoughts. I've got lots of thoughts on federal lands that are crappily managed. Why not? Why
not?
can't? Why not?
Yeah, but
Why can't?
Just to end our conversation on the Zohran thing, the other thing that he said is we need to ban all guns, right?
Right.
All guns. We need to ban all
All
guns.
guns.
And it's like the ridiculously like easy like response to that is the Second Amendment exists particularly and exactly for the reason that guy just stated that. Like that's
Right.
this guy is the exact reason that the Second Amendment exists. These authoritarians, the price control people, the socialists, the communists, all these people that want, and ultimately always runs down the same path to where they want to take your guns away. And that's it. That's the thing that's keeping them at bay. The Second Amendment and the First Amendment are the two things that are keeping them at bay. And man, we're going to see huge attacks on the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, especially if you get more people like Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court. Oh
yeah,
Bless her
she's
heart.
not.
I really. How do we get Trump to make another appointment or two? Well, I don't love the Amy Coney Barrett one, but
She gets brought in. I mean, she has had some rulings that have definitely been more progressive, but she's also majority of the time she rules with the conservative justices. She's just had some
except
bad.
when it really matters.
Except when it really matters. Yeah, there's been a couple really bad, high-profile ones lately, and again, go read. I encourage people to read the actual dissents and case rulings that come out, because that's where you get it. There's a lot of headlines on these stories. When you go read Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor's comments and rulings and their dissent on these, they are legally devoid of reason.
Yeah,
They
100%. It's
are-
all empathy and emotion.
Again, if someone makes a really strong legal case that I disagree with, if they show the receipts and bring a lot of precedent and historical cases to look at and legalese of some kind, I'm gonna give it some eyes. But just parroting woke talking points. Again, the ruling last week about the trans stuff in was it Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Or Tennessee.
Well, and I think that was it Ketanji Brown Jackson? I don't actually remember if it was in response to that one or not, but she said something along the lines of how it's so disappointing to her because all the other justices on the Supreme Court seem to just simply rule by the written letter of the law rather than
Right.
Which is what they're supposed to do. Like
Well,
the actual
a Supreme
job.
Court justice, that's the sentiment of an actual Supreme
This-
Court justice. She's disappointed that her other justices don't use empathy and emotion
Well,
in
yeah,
their decisions.
It's modern interpretism versus originalism
Right.
of the Constitution, and
Right.
we have a document that we have to interpret based on how it was written, and then we can add amendments. We have a whole legal structure in place to change and make edits to this. And I don't understand this new. Well, we're going to interpret it differently, and we need to put all this modern. Like, no, you have to. There's a legal precedent for this, Justice Jackson.
Exactly.
And
Well,
it's
moving on from don't mess with the Zohran and Ketanji Brown Jackson. I can't ever say her name. I always want to say Ketanji Jackson Brown. I don't know why. It flows off the tongue a little bit easier. But anyway, let's watch the blue-haired breakdown of the week. And this is where I like to create work for Mr. B, our tech guru, because there's going to be a lot of beeping and bleeping that you're going to have to do in this particular. And
I have not seen this yet.
You haven't seen this, and it's funny just because of how much of a breakdown it is. But this woman is basically upset that this was posted in context with her being upset about Trump's attack in Iran. I believe this was a response to that. So she is not happy about being in America anymore. It's good already. The eyes are already crazy. We haven't even started it yet. All right, you guys ready for this? Here it goes.
Yep.
America, please get me out of this place. I'm tired. I'm losing my shit. Tired.
Oh my gosh.
Tired. I'm tired.
What is she whipping up?
What is that?
America, please get me out of this place.
That's her to-go container, I think.
There's no way that's not staged. Why would you put your camera on you and have a total melt? Like, I don't know.
Well, they're all staged.
People just want to be heard. They want to be heard.
Yeah,
and they need an.
That was actually a live view of Jasmine Crockett's internal dialogue.
Oh yeah.
Well, we talked last week about the difference in mental health outcomes for the left and the right, and when Biden got elected, I wasn't happy about it. But then I just kind of lived my life. We've talked about this on the show, but I've seen so many people losing their minds over Trump's election and his policy decisions and his this and his that. And especially she was yelling about the Iran strike. Well,
that was what the context of what it was. But it's I think with her, the context that I read about that was that it was the Iran thing with the ICE thing and the LA riots and all that. She's just tired of the United States in general.
Okay.
Kind of like did you guys see the newscaster on the WNBA this week, Rebecca Lobo? She said, I disagree with you about that or whatever. And she's like, that's what makes America great, right? And then there's like this awkward silence for like 8 seconds. And she's like, I think I need to rephrase that.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, because she said America was good.
Because America was great. And like nobody else on the panel would respond. Like they didn't even know what to say. Like, I mean, this is the WNBA, the National Basketball Association, the Women's National Basketball Association for the United States. These girls go and represent the United States in the Olympics. And somebody just simply saying that's what makes this country great because we can disagree. They can't. And those are the types of people that are making these videos. Like they live in this country, they vote somehow. And they have but they're not operating from the standpoint of like, how do we make this country better? They want to tear the country down. They hate the country.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys remember during the election, for like a hot second, the Democrats decided that they wanted to make their party look super patriotic? So like, we're the party of the flag, and we're the party of patriotism, and we're the party that loves American values. And a lot of their people online were like, no, we hate America. And they're like, shh, quiet. No, we're the patriotic party. The right's the one that hates the country, and they're the ones that hate the flag. And you guys aren't going to come back.
It always comes across so fake, though. It's almost as fake as Tim Waltz being masculine. It's it's the most ridiculous thing when they try to do it. And now they changed their tune because of public sentiment, I guess, on like the abortion stuff. There was a interesting tweet that I responded to with the Not the Be account too about an abortion. Somebody's now they're calling them babies again now. The reason they're calling them babies, they're calling them babies because ICE, I guess, caused some conditions that maybe it caused a woman to be, I don't know how.
Like the stress, caused a miscarriage.
Yeah, stress caused a miscarriage, whatever. But now they're referring to them as babies because they want empathy, right? So they have to. They can't call it a clump of cells. So now all of a sudden it's a baby, and it's like it's so transparent. The flip flops.
It's crazy.
This is like Chuck Schumer grilling on his barbecue with the raw burgers. Those are not burgers, but he chose to call them that for the holiday, I guess.
Those were blocks of ice.
So gross.
And Mike Pence filling up his gas tank, and he didn't even have the thing on. It's great.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Or Kamala standing at the electric charger.
Was that Kamala?
That was Kamala at the electric charger.
She was trying to put the gas thing into the electric. Was
No,
that it?
she wouldn't try to put
Yeah.
the gas thing in the electric
Oh,
charger.
she was
She was
holding
standing there like it's like a gas tank.
Like she had to hold
Yes.
it. Yeah, the whole
Yes.
time.
You're gonna like fill it in 30 seconds.
Yeah. If you don't remember that for our listeners, it's like I think it was my favorite video because it was so subtle. She pulls over this electric charger to a Tesla or something, plugs it in, and then stands there and holds the electric charger like it's a gas thing. Like she's obviously never once plugged one of these things in. It just is so. It's just. If it were Trump, he would have said everything computer, and then he would have walked out.
And that was the Chuck
Yeah.
Schumer thing. He had raw hamburgers on the grill, and he had cheese on it.
Yeah, yeah.
cheese on it.
You wait to
Which,
the
by
end,
the way,
bro.
just to tell a little personal story, and tell me in the comments whether or not this would completely creep you guys out if you were in a restaurant. But we went to this place locally that's a steakhouse, and they have this guy come to your table and prepare the steaks. Mr. B, you know which place I'm talking about. And
You mean like he cuts it there for you?
he cuts it there for you. Like he shows you the different
Oh.
cuts, and then he'll actually cut like the ounces that you ask for, so you can custom order your steak. So it's kind of nice. And he came over to our table. He took our order, and he took our steaks. He cut the steaks. He's holding it with his bare hands. He doesn't have gloves on. He's handling the red meat with his hands.
And he just came out of the bathroom, but keep going.
No, he didn't come out of the bathroom. But well, maybe he did. I don't know. But anyway, he at the end of it, we're finished ordering, and we expect him to just walk away. And he's like, "Is that it?" And we're like, "Yes." And he actually reaches then and grabs all of our menus from us with his hands, and then walks
Oh.
away
Meat hands.
with his red meat hands. Like
Right.
he just got the red meat. And these are the menus. I'm like, they're not washing these menus between every person who comes in. I'm like, I feel like I need to say something to management or something about that. Like that's food handling 101, right? Like
You're getting
Yeah.
meat on the
Yeah.
menu, and everyone's hands from the menu on the meat.
red meat juice on the menus.
Yeah. So how's your tapeworm?
Better than it's better than chicken, but
Oh my gosh.
I have a really quick salmonella story on that same
Nice.
exact thing. When my husband and I were first married, he's gonna love that I tell this story. He was cooking chicken out on the grill. So this is the exact. He was in a restaurant, and he took the chicken out on a plate, like the raw chicken, and then
Was there
grilled
cheese on the
chicken.
top already?
There was no cheese on the top, but he grilled the chicken, and then he put it back on the plate that he had carried the raw chicken out on. And then we were eating it, and I took a bite of the sandwich, and then in my head, like some alarm started going off, and I said, "Wait! Did you wash this plate?" He said, "Oh no, we got salmonella. It's the only time I've had it, and it was
Rookie
2 days."
mistake.
It was the worst 2 days of my life. Like I've been pregnant, I've been through a lot, but the illness from that, my son was like 8 months, so we had to call a neighbor, and they came and took him for like 2 days, and my husband and I laid in
geez.
bed. And so I am so neurotic about washing hands with meat. Red meat's a little less gross than poultry, but still, that story would make me very uncomfortable.
We all looked at each other at the table and we were like, I don't know how I feel about this now. But we ended up okay. We've survived.
You
We
ate
did
your
not get-
steak. Was it good steak?
It was good. I'd say it's like a 7.5 out of 10. Let's just say that. Let's just leave it there.
Have you ever tasted a 10 steak?
Yeah. Otherwise, how would I know?
Well, that's I don't know. Some people use 10 as like, oh, you can never reach perfection, and that's like
Travis,
the
how do you take
imaginary.
your steak?
I take it. I usually get it medium rare.
Okay, correct.
I don't really. I'm kind of afraid to go lower, even though I'd be okay with it. I think it's just I don't really go to super high, big Gordon Ramsay steakhouses where I trust them. I go to Black Angus, which Black Angus is good. There's nothing wrong with Black Angus, but there's a different style of chef there, and I don't know if I trust them to go lower than medium rare.
My kids can all quote the King of the Hill quote. Bobby, what do we say to people who want their steak well done? We ask them politely but firmly to leave. That's all my kids can quote that.
Yeah, the correct preparation, I feel like a steak to both get the right cooking, but then also not risk your life is medium rare. I think it's simply prepared medium rare steak is like the best way to go. Unless you're at Sizzler.
Sizzler.
right?
I was about to say.
Oh,
it, Dan.
Sizzler! Always get blue steak at Sizzler.
What's blue steak? Is that
Oh, that's
rare?
when they don't even really cook it. They just kind of sear the outside.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
it's
my
the
steak
smartest
rare.
thing that you can do.
Yeah, I actually only learned about that because we were I was out to eat with Kyle, and he was talking to me about, I should have got this steak blue, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's how I learned about how he had tapeworms.
Jeez.
That didn't
There's
happen.
a story. Okay.
I would not trust a blue steak. I would not trust I would not trust a blue state. I would not trust a blue steak.
Yeah,
Hey.
And speaking of blue and all those other things, would you trust a blue man? We have a crazy article about a woman who is looking for liberal men, and the responses online are epic. So I'm going to share the screen here real quick because we put them all together in a big list. So this woman, whether I don't know if it's real or not, but she went on, I guess, TikTok and was asking, where can you find liberal men in Florida? And then all the responses, they're amazing. All right, quick question. Where's everyone finding liberal men, specifically someone from Florida? Kay, thank you. Let's read the comment section. The comment section is more than willing to assist her. Liberal men are also looking for liberal men.
Oh, read that again. Liberal men are also looking for liberal men. That's fantastic.
They're buying tampons at Walgreens. They have boyfriends on women's swim teams. Checking the women's bathroom, which is true, and the Disney World thing that everybody I think knows about.
That's happening. That's going to get big.
The term liberal man is an oxymoron. They're in the arms of other liberal men.
Oh, man.
Shopping for skirts. You can't have it both ways. You can either have a man or you can have a liberal. And then the last one, California. St. Petersburg, but they are old.
Man.
Anyway, I thought that
really
was
funny.
a funny article. That is, and you know what? Actually, I think it's pretty realistic. It's pretty true.
Yeah.
I think that women really do, more liberal leaning women. It's like they don't want a liberal man. They don't, otherwise they might as well be just dating a woman, right?
Which I think is what they want. They want someone that looks like a man. They want that appearance, but they want an emotional sensitivity of a woman.
I'm going to say something really controversial, and then I think we should move on to reading some forum headlines. But I was just thinking about this while you were. This is a hot take. But you know how they say that there's a propensity, there's a commonality with some gay men that had very overbearing mothers as they were growing up. There's like this trope. It's been around for years. They had like very. I've noticed there's a tendency with liberal men. If I meet one that's married, I see the wife and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. She's very overbearing. She's very, very opinionated. And he has not had an opinion on his own in 20, 30 years. Again, this is like kind of a controversial, maybe not a well thought out take, but I have seen this before. Every time I see a friend of, a neighbor, someone who the man is very like pro trans rights, I see the wife and I'm like, oh, that tracks. You're just trying to be the color of the leaf. You're a stick bug trying to survive. Like you're just trying to survive.
Dan and Travis,
Anyway.
question of the day: was your mother a strong woman, or was she?
I didn't say
Not very
strong.
strong.
I said overbearing. There's a
Overbearing
different.
or passive?
She was more passive, I think.
I think the word that my mom uses to describe herself is officious, which I think is the definition of being overbearing. But she uses that word herself, so I'm not saying it. I'm quoting her.
I'm not quoting my mom. I probably shouldn't have said anything.
My mom will text me after this.
Let's read some forum headlines real quick. I'd love to see what's going on over there with our buddies. For those of you that don't know, we have an amazing community here at the Babylon Bee and over at Not the Bee as well. There's an amazing social network at Not the Bee you can join. But at Babylon Bee, we have a forum that you just pay to be a subscriber to the Babylon Bee. It also gets you a lot of cool premium content. But you can join the forum, and it's like a little mini Facebook. It's like Blue Sky without the crazy people and Twitter without the crazy people. It's just really fun. It's very homey feeling in the forum. There's no yelling or screaming or calling me names. It's very nice.
It's a safe space for Robin.
It's a safe space for me. No one's saying my voice is shrill, and I appreciate
She
that.
doesn't know that it's all AI bots that were just generated for her specifically.
I'll take it. I would like a safe space. So we're going to read. So users can submit headlines. Travis, you want to read these again this week? So where are we reading?
We're
this
going to
off
start
of?
with published headlines because one of them.
Okay.
One of them was pretty good. This top one was pretty good.
From Coach T, Como groping for answers after disappointing primary.
Man,
I think I'm
saw
going to
that
click
one.
on the link here. I think that's actually pretty close
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didi
let's
Cuomo.
go.
Didi
for
Cuomo
answers.
left groping for answers. Yeah.
It's pretty close. That's like one of the closer headlines to what was actually originally written in the forum. All right, this one was from a writer, so we're not going to read that one. But let's go down to the next one.
Forget that guy.
Yeah,
that guy.
Forget that guy. All right, let's read this guy.
Bobola. CNN reports atomic bombing of Hiroshima did minimal damage and played no role in Japan's surrender 9 days later.
That's good. And look at I think we just tightened it up a little bit. The published.
Yeah, it was just shortened pretty much.
Yeah, we didn't cover that part of the story this week, I guess, right? About how also with the flip-flopping of the media, where they went through their 7 stages of grief or whatever over the success of Trump, and at one stage they were saying, "Oh well, it didn't actually blow anything up." Yeah. Meanwhile, it was like 180,000 pounds of munitions. All right, one more from published.
Grandpa Joe. President Obama learns Trump just destroyed the Iranian nuclear facilities he funded.
Oh, that's good.
I like the picture with him crying.
Is that a real picture of him crying?
I guess so.
I don't know.
I think it is. I don't know.
Is anything real anymore?
All right, oh no, we did that one last week, so that one has been on there for a full week. So let's go to featured.
From Don't Slow the Earth, Iran signs ceasefire after Ayatollah Khomeini unable to find affordable life insurance.
Ooh,
Oh, it's sad.
That's sad and good, clever.
Ace Biscuits.
I love these names.
Yes.
Biscuits.
Trump brings peace to the Middle East by introducing them to bacon.
Oh my god.
From Don't Slow the Earth again, WNBA hires male ref to tell the ladies to calm down.
That always works.
It would probably work.
It always works. All right, now we'll do a couple updates. Updates are the ones that, well, I won't explain what they are, but basically they get the most upvotes with a special upvote that you can only give to a certain number of headlines each day. So these are supposed to be the creme de la creme of the forum.
Mm-hmm.
So from Sir Lincoln, man tells woman looking at his wallet that his eyes are up here.
All right, remember, I forgot this. I'm supposed to be reacting to these things. I'm going to put cowboy hat.
Yeah,
that looks like something else. That cowboy hat.
What? What does it look like?
It looks like a little poop, kind of like the turd emoji.
Well,
doesn't
the brown doesn't help, but it is. Cowboy hats are brown.
That's true. That's true.
I've
I just
never
live with
once seen a
only
brown
teenage
cowboy
boys. I'm sorry. I just have a lot of teenage boys in my house.
All right.
Moving on.
John C., Muslim Marxist mayor-elect of New York City, proposes burqa for Statue of Liberty.
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
amazing.
That's terrible.
I'm going to put...
I have seen that on Twitter, so I don't know.
Yeah, I have.
It may not be original, but it is funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to
It is so funny.
I'm going to put toilet paper incorrect on that one.
Toilet paper incorrect?
Yeah, for people who borrow jokes, I put toilet paper incorrect. And it's because the toilet paper is going around the back side of the toilet paper instead.
That was because the burqa was hung
My
backwards.
goodness.
All right, last one.
How do we know?
Gary is blessed. All items half off at Muhammad's Nuclear Surplus Emporium.
I love that.
That's a good
Don't
one.
delay.
Good job,
Come
Gary.
now.
I'm going to put...
like
I'm going to give him a golden update.
The golden updude. Ooh, you have 10 remaining updudes. Very nice.
Very nice.
Our
Very nice.
forum people are funnier than I am, and I'm a professional. It's summer's hard time
Did you
to pitch
publish
content.
any headlines this week, Robin?
No, it's school's out, and my brain is just like two monkeys with a cymbal clapping in my head. It's really, I've noticed this. My quality and quantity of pitches goes way down in the summer because I am just hanging on for
It's nice to
dear
know.
life.
Maybe I should talk to Seth about that. We should pay rate should come down in the summer.
Well, I'm the only stay-at-home mom on the team, so it would probably just be me.
We already pay you
yeah.
less because you're a woman.
You already paid, 70 cents on the dollar, which is like, you think we'd hire only women,
Right.
but
And I lower your voice in the podcast because it's shrill.
this is very shrill. It's got a very shrill, grating sounding voice.
That's why no one complains about it. That's
You octave, just take me down an octave.
All right, let's go with some questions of the week from Mr. B.
All right, Travis, since this is your third time on, I'm starting with you, and then next week I'll go back to you, Robin.
Okay.
Travis, if you were to have an actual blue-haired breakdown, what would it be about?
Blue
and
hat
can
breakdown.
you show us what it would look like.
I have to show you.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Travis shows us his emotions through not showing emotions. Like it's his stoicism. It's his stoicism that shows us. How
I'm
he
very
feels.
stoic in some ways.
I want some arm flailing too.
Or what's something just that makes you really mad?
What's something that makes you real mad?
Well, I mean, it's not actually a big deal, which is what makes it a perfect breakdown. But like the new Superman movie's coming out, and I'm excited about it because I like Superman. But you know what? In the trailer, you get Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner giving the finger with the Green Lantern powers. And I'm like, this isn't a family movie. I want to take my kids to see a good, wholesome Superman movie like Christopher Reeve. And you don't get that. You don't get that here. Who knows what's
What do you think
like?
about
Maybe
the punch? The punch with the teeth falling out thing. That whole.
I thought that was a
scene.
little hokey. That's a bit much.
The whole thing just seems like a CGI. Like I don't know. I can't get excited about it.
I guess it's weird to say this Superman movie needs practical effects, but that's what I want. I want to see a man fly. I don't want to see
every
a
movie needs
computer-generated
practical
character.
effects. I have said this before. We need to start.
You didn't
filming
use
stuff.
enough F-bombs in that, Travis.
Well,
I'll bleep
Has
them out.
Travis
You guys can
ever
do it.
said an F-bomb in
do
his
it
life?
now, real quick. Your rants, and then just bleep whatever he says.
the Superman movie doesn't have enough practical in it.
Calm down.
That was like a 3 on the outrage scale. I'll give you.
I don't.
You have to have these eyes. No, I don't think you can get Travis to do this. This is like against Travis's
like-
nature.
It is.
There we
You
go.
have to do
Those are
like
the
Clockwork
crazy
Orange
eyes.
on my eyes. I have very squinty eyes.
That's going to be some good bleeping for Mr. B to do that.
Yeah, let's end this podcast with either, and you guys comment below what you'd like to see. Either Travis walks over and throws that pumpkin against the wall, or he starts vacuuming with that vacuum handle.
Wait, how are
right there.
the commenters are gonna tell him to do something?
Oh,
Well,
there
we'll
is a
see if they're
vacuum in
right.
here.
It's going to be in like
This
4
is not a
minutes.
live show. It's an interesting. Paradox.
Maybe I should have been blurring my background this whole time.
Travis, you don't have to do. Which one would you pick if you were going to do it?
Probably vacuum, because
Throw
that
it
would get me in less trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
Well,
going to say, he said that trophy was his wife's trophy. He actually received a trophy. It was the vacuum from his wife for being a good
That's right.
husband.
Your brick wall crashed your computer. It's the processing
Yeah, I
power.
guess.
It cannot handle.
That's why I
They
put
can't
a-
even create like a perfect. Like you
No.
can see parts of the
Your
room.
See, I have a
computer
green
is working
screen.
overtime right now to try and figure out where your head ends.
Which is weird because it's a completely smooth straight
It's
line.
completely circular. If it just generated a diameter.
That's right.
B, I am so excited to see how this segment turns out in the cutting room floor.
All right, what's
All right.
next, Pete?
What's next?
Robin, if you could ask one politician one question and get a completely honest answer, what question would you ask and who would it be to?
All right, that's a really good question. I would probably ask Nancy Pelosi for stock tips.
Yeah.
And I would just
That's
ask
a
her.
very beneficial answer.
It's very. I was thinking mean and nasty stuff, but I mean, if I get one opportunity, a shot at this, I want some good stock tips. I might ask AOC why she thinks socialism is going to work this time around when it hasn't ever worked in the past. That would be good. I'd like to have that conversation with her. I feel like I could come to the table with that one.
I like
And what
that.
do you got?
Me personally, what would
Yeah.
who would I ask and what would I ask? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a politician that I think actually is capable of providing an honest answer.
But he
because
said they have to
AOC,
give
They
an-
have to. That's the
AOC
that's
doesn't have an honest answer to that because she doesn't even know what you're talking about. Same thing with Jasmine Crockett. I don't know. I could ask Trump. I know what it is. I would ask Trump what his actual handicap is.
Oh. What has he said it is?
He says that he's a scratch golfer, I think, doesn't he? I think he
I don't know
says
what
he's a
that
scratch
is.
golfer, which it basically means he shoots par, basically. He's going to shoot if it's a par 72 course, he's going to shoot 72. I think he says he's a scratch golfer or just
Is that bad? That's bad because you want a
No,
tender
that's-
part.
No,
That's
that's
good, really.
extremely good. That's a very, very, very good. I don't know. I don't actually remember off the top of my head what he says his handicap is, but I would love to know what he actually says in honesty, like force him to be honest. Because I think that's actually the thing that Trump is probably the most dishonest about is his golf game.
I can see that.
I went mini golfing this week, and I love mini golf. I beat my whole family. It's the only
Nice.
thing I can beat my kids and my husband at. It is not long. I have no long game, but I have a good short game. And
There you go.
Oh, Robin beats her kids.
I beat my kids with a golf club.
I beat my kids with a golf club. I beat my kids with a golf club.
Oh no, take that out. That's so sad to even say it. I do love mini golf though. That's all I can contribute to a golf conversation.
All right, I think that is about it for this week. On the note of Robin beating her kids with the golf clubs, I think that's a good way to end. I think that's a good way to end the show. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week. I won't say you guys next week because that's offensive now. So I'm going to say we will look forward to seeing you humans next week.
Humans. Mixed humans.
Goodbye.